Well, welcome back. I'm Rod Schaub. I work for Frontier Extension District, and this is the second in a set of videos on electric fencing. Today we're going to talk about the charger or the energizer. You know, there's lots and lots of different companies out there that sell chargers. But what I want you to do is I want you to kind of find the one that fits for you. I want you to find a low impedance charger. We also want one that's going to have a minimum of 5,000 volt output anytime you have a load on the fence itself, okay? Another thing about the charger, you want it to have 35 to 65 pulses per minute, and we want to make sure that it has snap-in modules. You know, if you spend $300, $400, $500, maybe $1,000 on a charger, we sure don't want it when it breaks down that we can't repair it. So we want one that has snap-in modules, okay? And chargers come, you can buy 110 chargers, you can buy battery chargers, or you can buy solar chargers. I would prefer to use a 110 charger all the time. My main reason for doing that is I feel like electricity is more reliable maybe than a battery or solar power. So if you do have to use a solar powered charger, if you're using one of the chargers that have those small panels on them, try not to make that on a permanent fence. They're not typically high enough output that they will handle a lot of fence, okay? If you're going to have to use a solar powered panel, I would prefer to use one of those big ones like we use on watering systems, you know, that are 3 foot tall or something like that. Those are going to be the ones that are going to be able to make enough energy to store in that battery to run then the charger. When you size a charger, there's lots of different ways. You know, you can the advertisement says here's how many miles they'll do. One will say here's how many acres there is. Here's one that'll say this is how many stored joules or output joules that the charger has. When you're looking at that, I really have a hard time with miles because we don't know whether that's 1 wire, 2 wires, how many wires are going to run for that many miles. If we're looking at acres, you know, a square acreage always has smaller sides than a rectangular. So if you had something that was like 4 acres by 4 acres, when you add those 4 sides up, you have 16. If you have something that's 2 by 8, all of a sudden now you have 20. So I don't really like the acres thing, and I really prefer to use joules. And joules is what that actually is. A joule is a measurement of the horsepower that pushes the pulse through the electric fence. And what we've kind of come to find out, under an average load, we need about 1 joule per mile of output per mile of fence, okay? And so when you're buying a charger, always buy a charger that's bigger than what you think you're going to need or what you need currently. Always buy a bigger one. And the reason is maybe you have your paddocks already set up and you know how many miles of fence you have built. But what happens if we start strip grazing and we start putting more fence out there? Maybe we decide we're going to break the paddocks into 2. You might as well have that charger that's just a little bit bigger and will then fit into the new system as well. Also, when we're talking about chargers, we want to make sure that if we have a 110 charger, that we put surge protection on the end where we plug it into 110, and we also want to have lightning protection on the ground side. And we'll talk more about the lightning protection in a couple of videos. Next time when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about ground systems and how to set up a ground system. See you next time.